welcome to the Witches and Roses. I'm Netinyani, the Art Witch, and today we are diving into the energy and magic of new possibilities. We are going to explore how to invite more adventure, more freshness into our lives by working with the archetype of the Fool, a symbol of spontaneity, curiosity, anarchy, humor, and lots of other things that we will discuss today. Now, I am sure that many of you are familiar with the term archetype, but for those of you who aren't, the archetype is a term that was coined by a Swiss psychiatrist and psychologist, Carl Gustav Jung, and he described archetypes as universal patterns of behavior and symbols that are present in all cultures and ultimately in all people. Now, it's important to mention that it's not that he invented archetypes, he just gave a name to something that had always been there. And you can notice it by reading mythology, fairy tales, watching movies, and even observing your dreams. You will notice those repetitive symbols. So, how are we going to work with the archetype of the Fool today? This video consists of 4 parts. You can watch them separately, all the timestamps are down below, or if you're someone like me who loves going deep into the subject and having immersive experiences, obviously I recommend dedicating your time to all 4 steps. So the first step is simply I'm going to share information about this archetype, and you will either learn about it or simply refresh your memories, because archetypes, they are forever shifting. So depending on where you are in your life, you will relate to it differently. The second part is going to be a pick a card tarot reading that I've crafted specifically for this video. This spread is going to allow us to analyze your relationship with this archetype as of today. Is it fully present in your life, or do you need to implement more of this energy in certain domains of your life? The third part is going to be a 10 minutes guided meditation that I've prepared for this video specifically as well. And like this, we are going to be able to reprogram our subconscious mind and to plant seeds related to this archetype. You will choose the best intentions that are associated with the archetype of the Fool, and like this, the manifestation will become quicker, because obviously we start working with our mind first. But last but not least, I'm going to share with you a recipe of a magical potion that is going to help us anchor this energy in our bodies. I really love working with both mental and physical planes when manifesting. It's a very good technique to trick our brain into manifesting faster, and it works. So now that you know the plan, let's begin the Fool's journey. Is he mad, crazy, a jester playing with your mind, or a nomad on a path you dare not follow? Or is he the one who leads you to the wildest, most unexpected party? Could he be the teacher who whispers the voice of God? Will he lead you to your madness or to your enlightenment? The Fool isn't what he seems, and perhaps that's exactly the point. The Fool as an archetype holds profound significance across various cultures and disciplines, embodying innocence, risk, and boundless potential. Rooted in mythology, psychology, art, and literature, the Fool invites individuals to embark on a transformative journey filled with uncertainty, creativity, and growth. The figure of the Fool is complex and can be deeply unsettling for those who prefer simple black and white answers. This ambiguity is a key element of the Fool archetype. It's a source of wisdom, but the wisdom often comes in the form of questions rather than definitive answers. The Fool challenges conventional thinking and demands a re-evaluation of assumptions, leading us to explore the ambiguity and complexity of existence. The Fool stands at the threshold of everything. In tarot, he is represented by the number 0. embodying the multiverse of possibilities and the spaces in between. He is extremely naive at times and at others acutely wise. As someone who is close to all things, the Fool sees and understands both the divine and the profane. He not only delights in the sacred and the serene, but also in the carefree freedom of a good party. And the Fool knows that the divine and the devilish are not separate, but part of the same cosmic dance, with all their contradictions and harmonies. The Fool sometimes reminds us that it is better to live a crazy adventure than a life with nothing to remember. In many ways, the Fool embodies the qualities of the true philosopher, one who does not accept easy answers or dogmas, but instead questions the very foundations of knowledge, identity, and reality. He's inquisitive, willing to entertain paradoxes and contradictions, and open to a more expansive view of the world. This is in stark contrast to the more rigid, binary thinking often found in those who cling to certainty. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow can be applied here as well. The Fool represents a confrontation with the unknown, with chaos, and with the aspects of ourselves and the world that we would rather avoid or ignore. The Fool's energy invites us to embrace the grey areas where true wisdom is often found. It encourages us to question our assumptions and explore the unknown, not for the sake of finding absolute answers, but for the sake of understanding the complexity of life itself. The unsettling nature of the Fool's ambiguity raises the questions of the limits of life and death, wisdom and folly, order and chaos. These notions are constantly in tension, and the Fool refuses to take sides in the struggle. The Fool is antagonistic to those who favor comfort, uncertainty, and finality. The energy of the Fool is disruptive, and it can frustrate those who desire neat, logical answers that fit into a predefined framework. The Fool's constant questioning echoes the Socratic method, where true wisdom is found in not knowing. Socrates, as depicted by Plato, famously claimed, "I know that I know nothing," suggesting that wisdom arises from the acceptance of one's ignorance and an ongoing search for understanding. The Fool, like Socrates, embodies this search, not for closure or finality, but for the exploration and transformation. From a psychological perspective, this ability to tolerate and even embrace ambiguity is part of the process of individuation, as described by Carl Jung. In this individuation process, individuals are encouraged to accept the tension between opposing forces within themselves, conscious and unconscious, light and dark, order and chaos. The energy of the Fool archetype can be found in everyone, for the Fool, as we already know, is everything that is. It is both no one and everyone at once. He embodies the naive youth and the wise elder, the beggar and the famous actor, anyone who dares to step into any role. The Fool has infinite forms, ever-changing and fluid. Today we will explore several faces of the Fool: the sacred Fool, the radical anarchist, the playful Fool, the trickster, and the visionary Fool. Before we dive deeper into the concept of the Fool and explore how this energy manifests through different figures, take a moment to pause the video and ask yourself, what do you associate the Fool with? Perhaps you'll think of a historical figure, or maybe someone you know personally. What qualities or behaviors link those individuals to the Fool archetype? To do this, take a look at the Fool in the tarot cards, specifically in the Rider-Waite and Marseille decks. Now that you've reflected on your own associations with the Fool, let's delve deeper into its various expressions. Let's examine some examples of how the Fool shows throughout history, myth, and art. These figures, whether revered, misunderstood, or even mocked, carry the essence of the Fool in their actions and choices. We'll look at how the energy of the Fool can manifest in unexpected places and how it challenges our perceptions of wisdom, freedom, and truth. Bear in mind that the examples I've chosen to speak about are the ones that resonate with me personally. The way I categorize the different phases of the Fool is also my interpretation. If you feel differently or see the Fool manifesting in other ways, that's perfectly valid. It simply means you have a unique connection with this archetype. There is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to the understanding of these universal symbols, and your personal experiences and insights are even more valuable. The sacred Fool is an essential figure in both religious and spiritual contexts, representing humility, wisdom, and divine guidance. The Fool, in this sense, breaks free from the societal norms and embodies an unshakable faith in something greater than the material world. The sacred Fool exemplifies divine wisdom through spiritual asceticism, humility, and the embracing of mystical paradoxes that confound the ordinary mind. The sacred Fool teaches through renunciation and selflessness, offering a model for spiritual enlightenment through sacrifice and the rejection of ego. This is often portrayed in religious figures whose lives defy the conventions of their time and who embody wisdom that is both sacred and transformative. One of the most famous examples of this behavior is, of course, Jesus Christ. The life of Jesus Christ is perhaps the most profound example of the sacred Fool in Western spirituality. In Christian theology, Jesus is often referred to as the King of the Kingdom of Heaven, yet his life and teachings represent a paradoxical challenge to worldly power, authority, and prestige. His rejection of societal norms and his embrace of humility exemplify the sacred Fool core qualities. In the Gospels, Jesus speaks of turning away from earthly riches, social status, and the pursuit of power, offering instead a path of humility, service, and love. This radical wisdom is epitomized in his crucifixion, where through his suffering and death, he offers a model of profound self-sacrifice. The cross, an instrument of torture and shame, becomes the symbol of divine love and wisdom, where weakness becomes strength and death becomes life. Jesus' message of loving one's enemies and forgiving others subverts conventional notions of power, as well as his humble birth. Born into a stable to a poor family, is a stark contrast to the expectations of a powerful king who would bring justice to the world. His teachings call for a radical renunciation of ego, the very core of the Fool's wisdom, and a complete surrender to love and service, transcending conventional worldly wisdom. His choice to associate with the outcasts, challenge the authorities, and ultimately sacrifice himself for humanity's redemption might have been seen as foolish and even crazy by those around him, particularly by Roman authorities and Jewish religious leaders of that time. The life and teachings of Jesus are immeasurably more complex than the archetype of the Fool itself. However, by observing the energy of the Fool in Jesus' story, we are really looking at his transgressive approach to reality and materialism. Even today, Jesus continues to be misunderstood by many because his teachings were so profound and layered, allowing for countless interpretations. His relationship with material wealth remains a topic of considerable theological and historical debate. However, there is no evidence that Jesus romanticized or advocated for poverty as an ideal in itself. Rather, he redefined the hierarchy of priorities, emphasizing the importance of investing in the spiritual dimension first. This, however, does not imply a rejection of the beauty and value of the material world, and it does not mean that he was always against material wealth in an absolute sense. Jesus wasn't averse to wealth in itself. but rather to the attachment to wealth and the pride that can rise from it. For example, the New Testament shows Jesus interacting with wealthy individuals in positive ways. Zacchaeus, the tax collector from Jericho, was a wealthy man whom Jesus visited and who, upon encountering Jesus, pledged to give half his wealth to the poor. Jesus also did not condemn all wealthy people, but rather those who exploited others and used their wealth in ways that were selfish or unjust. Therefore, one could say that his teachings reflect a balance where wealth is seen as neutral. It's not inherently good or bad, but how one handles wealth and how it affects one's heart and relationship with others, especially the poor, is what truly matters. There are, of course, other figures similar to Jesus who remind us of the sacred full energy. Buddha, who renounced a life of luxury, Lao Tzu, who believed in simplicity and the futility of material pursuit, Saint Francis of Assisi, who embraced poverty and chose paths that seemed strange and even foolish to others. What sets these figures apart is their ability to look within for answers, remaining unaffected by external trends and societal expectations. They challenge us to question our own priorities and ask ourselves, what are we willing to sacrifice to find true happiness and not the one that is being sold to us? Their stories remind us that deep wisdom often lies in paths others may not understand. The playful fool is a figure of joy, spontaneity, and a deep sense of freedom. This aspect of the fool invites us to engage with life through humor, play, and creativity, embodying both innocence and a fearless exploration of life's wonders. Celebration is a form of liberation, a way to transcend the mundane and embrace the ecstasy of the present moment. This energy can be expressed in a more innocent, childlike ways, like a playful mischief of Krishna, or in a darker, more provocative form as seen in the revelry of Dionysus. Whether through light-hearted innocence or intense transformative celebration, the fool dances through life, swirling through the night where laughter, music, and movement become prayers in themselves. Krishna, a central figure in Hinduism, Krishna's complex persona, ranging from a mischievous and joyful child to a sagacious guide, a devoted lover, and a valiant guardian, has left a profound impact on artistic and cultural traditions of India. In the Bhagavata Purana, one of the most significant texts in Krishna's narrative, the deity's playful and loving nature is revealed through his interactions with the gopis. In the Ras Leela, the divine mystical dance of Krishna with Radha and the gopis, Krishna multiplies himself so that each gopi believes she is his exclusive partner. Radha, however, is not merely one of the gopis. She holds a unique and supreme position as Krishna's eternal and inseparable counterpart. Together, Radha and Krishna represent the union of the divine masculine and feminine principles, embodying the highest form of love and devotion. The interactions of Krishna with the gopis, on the other hand, symbolize the accessibility of divine love to all souls. Each gopi represents an individual soul, and the Ras Leela serves as a metaphor for the infinite capacity of the divine to connect personally and intimately with every being while remaining beyond human limitations. This mirrors the fool's ability to embody paradox and mysteries, as well as to transcend ordinary boundaries and live simultaneously in various dimensions of existence. Unlike ascetic traditions that focus on renunciation, Krishna's playful nature encourages individuals to engage deeply with life and the divine without the need to separate oneself this much from worldly pleasures. This approach contrasts with the more serious, disciplined paths of spirituality found in other traditions, highlighting the joy of living as an expression of the divine. A much darker expression of the foolish playfulness is embodied in the figure of the Greek god of wine, Dionysus, who represents a fusion of chaos and ecstasy. His mythical followers, such as Maenads and satyrs, engaged in frenzied, chaotic rituals that celebrated the breaking of societal boundaries and the joy of the present moment. Dionysus teaches that in chaos and celebration, one can access a deep truth, a divine wisdom that transcends ordinary understanding, while life's ecstatic moments bring about profound transformation. The fool's connection to Dionysus is also vividly depicted in medieval art, where he is often the central figure in scenes of revelry and celebration. These paintings frequently portray the fool in the heart of the feast, embodying both the joy and the risks of hedonistic pursuits. A great example of this is the painting The Struggle Between Carnival and Lent, created by a follower of Hieronymus Bosch. Dionysus embodies the balance between play and peril, liberation and destruction, and is a representation of the tension between discipline and hedonism, asceticism and carelessness. This duality reflects a psychological dynamic that calls for balance within the human psyche. Yet Dionysus's nature isn't solely that of carefree joy. He more often than not represents an unbalanced joy that can quickly slip into destructive forces. The Bacchanalia, for instance, the festival dedicated to Bacchus, which is the Roman name for Dionysus, originally celebrated life's pleasures and the breakdown of social boundaries. However, over time, this festival became infamous for the descent into extreme hedonism and immoral behavior, embodying the destructive potential of unchecked indulgence. The Bacchanalia's controversial nature, where participants engaged in violence, deviant sexual behavior, and excessive drinking, points to the darker side of the Dionysian energy when it is unbalanced. Dionysus is the perfect example of a psychoanalytic concept by Sigmund Freud about libido and thanatos. The libido is all about life, pleasure, creation, passion, connection. It's that drive that pushes us toward love, joy, and fulfillment. But there is also thanatos. It is the pull toward destruction, aggression, and the breakdown of order. Does this connect Dionysus to the fool? Well, Dionysus is a fascinating figure because he embodies both. He shows us the tension between libido, the urge for joy, freedom, and ecstasy, and thanatos, the danger of letting that joy slip into chaos and self-destruction. In other words, the fool seeks freedom, but if we lose control and go too far, we risk going down a path of excess that can destroy us. It's all about finding that balance between living fully, celebrating life, and not letting it slip into a dangerous spiral. So now, after having explored those foolish characteristics of Krishna and Dionysus, you could ask yourself some questions. Am I balancing my responsibilities with moments of indulgence and celebration? Do I allow myself to express joy without guilt or restraint? Or, what are the potential consequences of excessive indulgence in my life? The fool as the radical anarchist. After exploring the sacred fool, who challenges societal norms with humility, kindness, and spiritual insight, we now encounter a figure who takes a vastly different approach to rebellion, and it is Diogenes of Sinope. While both the sacred fool and Diogenes renounced materialism and rejected societal conventions, the similarities aren't there. Diogenes' philosophy was rooted in radical cynicism, often expressed through shocking, irreverent acts that forced people to confront the absurdity of their norms, but all this without the altruistic undertones of the sacred fool. Far from acts of kindness, his actions were designed to provoke discomfort, challenge perceptions of decency, and sometimes veered into what could be seen as sheer disrespect. Stories about his behavior, like publicly defecating, urinating on others, and dismissing women outright, pose serious questions about the fine line between philosophical rebellion and vain, aggressive eccentricity. While these accounts, often attributed to later sources, may be exaggerated or apocryphal, they remain plausible given Diogenes' well-documented countercultural philosophy. Was Diogenes exposing core flaws in human social structures, or was his behavior more of an exercise in self-serving spectacle? This controversy persists in the art world, where shock and irreverence are often used to critique established systems. Consider Piero Manzoni's infamous Artist's Shed from 1961, a conceptual work consisting of 90 cans, supposedly filled with the artist's feces. Like Diogenes, who lived during the 4th century before Christ, Manzoni pushed boundaries, forcing viewers to question art's value and its commodification. In my humble opinion, while Piero Manzoni's work is undeniably provocative, silly, and repulsive in its own way, it still carries a sharp wit and a critique of capitalism that feels more subtle in its critical language compared to the provocations of Diogenes. Manzoni's approach, though unconventional, seems to balance absurdity with reflection, inviting thought rather than outright alienation. In contrast, Diogenes' often crude and abrasive gestures can feel more like a rejection of human connection altogether. But what do you think? Does Manzoni's more nuanced absurdity achieve greater impact, or do you find them both equally genius, or equally unnecessarily extreme? Diogenes remains a polarizing figure. Does breaking norms at all costs illuminate deeper truths, or can it cross into the normalization of disrespect? His life challenges us to reflect on how far rebellion should go before it loses its meaning, and whether the anarchic fool serves as a liberator or merely an agent of chaos. The trickster. Two sides of the same coin. The fool and the trickster share a core attribute, disruption. Both defy conventions and destabilize the status quo. However, they do so in different ways. The fool's disruption comes from a place of innocence. Picture the fool stepping off the edge of a cliff with a carefree heart and faith that the universe will catch them. The fool's energy is naive, optimistic, and unassuming. Their actions often reveal deeper truths, sometimes unintentionally, through their willingness to take risks without knowing the outcome. In contrast, the trickster is deliberate and cunning. They wield disruption as a tool, using the wit and subversion to expose flaws in systems or hierarchies. Unlike the fool's unintentional wisdom, the trickster's actions are calculated. They know the rules of the game and how to bend or break them to their advantage. No figure encapsulates the trickster's archetype better than Hermes, the Greek god of transitions, trade, and cunning. In Jungian psychology, Hermes is more than a mythological character. He's a psychopomp, or guide bridging the conscious and unconscious realms. As the messenger of the gods, Hermes navigates between opposites, heaven and earth, life and death, truth and deception. This duality makes him central to understanding the human psyche and its contradictions. Carl Jung viewed the trickster as a mirror of our unconscious drives and unrefined instincts. Hermes, as the trickster, embodies this duality. He's both a creator and a destroyer, a bringer of light and a shadowy deceiver. His behavior is ambiguous, sometimes helpful, sometimes harmful, but always transformative. On his good days, Hermes is a protector of travelers, an inventor, and the god of communication and art. He's credited with creating the lyre, a musical instrument, and aiding heroes like Odysseus on their journeys. But Hermes also has a mischievous, even criminal side. He is the god of thieves and trickery, known for bending rules and evading consequences. His cleverness can border on manipulation, leaving those around him bewildered or outsmarted. One of the most entertaining examples of Hermes' cunning is the story of how, as a newborn, he stole Apollo's cattle. According to the myth, Hermes was only a few hours old when he snuck out of his cradle and stole 50 of Apollo's sacred cattle. But he didn't just take them. He led the cattle backward so their hoof prints would confuse anyone trying to track them. Not stopping there, Hermes invented the lyre from a tortoise shell to charm anyone who might accuse him. When Apollo confronted him, Hermes feigned innocence, playing the role of a helpless baby. Despite Apollo's anger, Hermes' cleverness and musical talent eventually won him over. Hermes even struck a deal with Apollo, trading the lyre for the cattle, and they became allies. The story highlights Hermes' dual nature, cunning and deceptive, yet charming and innovative. He outwitted an Olympian god and turned potential punishment into opportunity, a hallmark of the trickster energy. The fool and the trickster aren't confined to myths. They manifest in real life, often through extraordinary individuals who dared to disrupt the status quo. Take Joan of Arc, for example. As a young peasant girl in the 15th century France, she embodied the fool's faith. She believed, against all odds, that her divine visions were real and that she could lead an army to liberate France. At just 17, she persuaded seasoned military leaders and even King Charles VII to trust her a seemingly naive endeavor. But Joan wasn't just guided by faith. She also harnessed the cunning of the trickster. She strategically used her humble background to disarm skeptics, presenting herself as a divinely inspired savior who couldn't possibly have any ulterior motives. Joan dressed in man's armor, breaking conventions to command respect, and used her sharp wit to outmaneuver her enemies. Her combination of blind faith and strategic cunning not only led to critical victories in the 100 Years' War, but also cemented her place in history as a martyr and saint. Similarly, Ada Lovelace, the pioneering mathematician often credited as the world's first computer programmer, combined these archetypal energies. Her fool-like vision allowed her to see beyond the limitations of her time, yet she also demonstrated the trickster's cleverness, using her connections and intellect to translate and expand on complex ideas. These women teach us to trust our instincts like the fool, while remaining sharp and strategic like the trickster. They remind us of an essential truth: to navigate life's challenges and create meaningful change, we must embrace both aspects of the fool, the light and the shadow, the innocent child and the cunning strategist. The fool's naive faith inspires us to take bold leaps, even when the path ahead is unclear, but it is the trickster's cunning, the shadow side of the fool, that helps us adapt, strategize, and turn obstacles into opportunities. These two aspects are inseparable, forming a delicate balance that empowers us to face the world with courage, wisdom, and resilience. So, as you navigate your own journey, ask yourself, when do you need the faith of the fool to take a leap, and when do you need the wit of the trickster to land on your feet? Both energies are within you, waiting to guide you towards transformation. The visionary fool is the artist who, with unyielding curiosity, ventures beyond the known into uncharted territories of imagination and creation. Unlike the sacred fool, who operates within a mystical spiritual framework, or the anarchist fool, who challenges established norms through disruptive means, the visionary fool sees the world not as it is, but as it could be. The visionary fool is driven by a profound inner vision, one that transcends reality and reveals hidden truths through art. He may seem reckless or eccentric, but his actions are rooted in the belief that true transformation comes from thinking and seeing differently. His madness is a form of genius, for he dares to envision a world that does not yet exist, where emotions, experiences, and ideas can be expressed in a new form, breaking free from the limits of the conventional. Artists throughout history have embodied this archetype by pushing boundaries, whether through their ideas, methods, or materials. Take, for example, Vincent van Gogh. Widely misunderstood during his lifetime, Van Gogh's work was seen as a departure from the traditional norms. His swirling brushstrokes and emotional intensity were dismissed as madness by critics. However, today, he is regarded as one of the most visionary artists in history. His ability to depict emotion through color and form create a unique language of art that spoke to the heart of human experience, even before society fully understood or appreciated it. Similarly, Salvador Dali, with his surreal landscapes and bizarre dreamscapes, dared to express the unconscious mind in a way that had never been seen before. His works challenged the very nature of reality, inviting us to question the world around us and dive in the depth of our minds. Like the visionary fool, Dali wasn't simply creating for the sake of beauty. He was uncovering deeper layers of truth, even if they made the audience uncomfortable. In the same vein, Marina Abramović, known for her performance art, has engaged in provocative and often difficult-to-watch pieces that force both herself and her audience to confront the limits of the endurance, identity, and vulnerability. Abramović's work pushes the boundaries of art, demanding that we reflect on what it means to be alive, to suffer, and to experience the world in a raw, unfiltered way. For her, this act of creation is also a form of healing, both for herself and her audience. Now take a moment and ask yourself, how do I approach unconventional ideas? Am I open to ideas that seem crazy or impossible, or do I dismiss them as impractical? What limits do I place on my imagination? As we reach the end of our journey into the realm of the Fool, we are left with more questions than answers. The Fool is not a single identity, but a reflection of the many facets of the human experience. He is the artist, the rebel, the prophet, the jester, and yet he is all of us, each of us carrying a piece of his essence unknowingly or consciously. His path, uncertain and unpredictable, leads us to places both wild and profound. Perhaps, in the end, the Fool is not meant to be understood fully. So as you leave this lecture, ask yourself, what part of the Fool lives within you? What is he trying to tell you, to show you, to free you from? Is he pushing you toward madness or toward a new kind of wisdom? And most importantly, will you dare to follow his path? The journey of the Fool is never linear. It is an internal dance between chaos and order, between knowing and unknowing. And perhaps, just perhaps, it is in this dance that we discover the truest, most liberating parts of ourselves. Thank you for joining me in today's exploration of the Fool archetype. If you are interested in diving even deeper into the transformative fusion of art, spirituality, and wellness, I invite you to explore Hypersensium, a platform I created to bridge these worlds. It's a space where creativity and consciousness meet, offering a unique path to self-discovery and growth. You'll find on the website and Instagram not only a collection of unique workshops blending art, spirituality, and wellness, but also a gallery showcasing contemporary artists whose work inspires personal transformation. If you'd like to stay connected and be the first to hear about upcoming workshops and exclusive events, consider subscribing for more updates. All the information is down below in the description box. Now that we have finished discussing the full archetype, let's get to your tarot reading. As always, we're going to have several positions, so take a deep breath, take your time and choose the one that is calling you the most. Hi Pile 1, welcome to your reading. We're going to start with the first position that is going to show us your general connection with the archetype of the Fool and to what extent you are in tune with this energy. Okay, fantastic. So you are someone who is actually on very good terms with the Fool. You are someone who is not afraid to be the center of attention and to shine your light, even if others may not be ready for it. So we will dive deeper in other positions and see if there are any imbalances, but overall it seems like you've embraced standing out with the Sun card here, and it is fantastic, really. So please take a moment to also notice any symbols that are calling your attention, and maybe you will find your personal answers to this question. Now, the second position is going to tell us where do you need to invite more spontaneity and joy? Where has life become a bit too rigid and a bit too serious? So from this card, it feels like maybe your relationship dynamics with people sometimes becomes a bit too rigid, and maybe you are too critical of people, and the same goes in regards to you, because other people are always mirroring our own energy, but not always, but very often. So in your relationships with others, it feels like there is a rigid judgment, and sometimes, you know, we have to understand that our perception of other people is not always fixed, and it is fine. Today this person is presenting themselves as, you know, being clumsy and forgetful and highly imperfect, but then other days they might be someone who's extremely inspiring, you know. Yeah, so I feel like the energy of the Fool in this position is inviting you to be a bit softer when it comes to other people and yourself as well, not being this picky, not being this perfectionist, and yeah, you know, taking it as a joke sometimes when people do some stupid shit. It's, you know, it's a part of life. If someone makes a mistake, do not judge them too harshly. And if you make a mistake, do not judge yourself too harshly too. Because we only treat others as we treat ourselves most of the time. Again, not all the time, most of the time. So, yeah. Third position is going to show us where do you need to be more innovative, daring, and different. And we have the Seven of Wands. Well, it feels like maybe there is some project in your life that is demanding of you being more brave, being more provocative, and yeah, just express your thinking and express your ideas in a solid and confident way. And for many of you, I feel like it is connected to your career and to the way you get across your ideas. So for some of you, it feels like a battle, but again, it's only through battle with ourselves that we get to a different level of consciousness and therefore to a different level of reality. So if you are manifesting something actively, then what is calling your attention is confidence in your personal ideas and in your creativity when it comes to your projects. Fourth position is going to tell us where do you need to seek more internal guidance and wisdom. Okay, so this is a very philosophical card in this position. So maybe you are trying to calculate your future and you do not have it's not that you do not see your final destination just yet. You are on your path, and this is what needs to be embraced. This is what needs to be approached with more wisdom and understanding, so that you do not demand of yourself to know everything all at once. And yes, plan, organize your day, but we have to stay flexible and still keep going and still keep trying, even if we do not see the final destination just yet. Also, I feel like a lot of you would benefit from paying more attention to your emotional landscape, because maybe certain emotional turbulences are not allowing you to strategize everything to a T, even though, like I said, I don't think you have to know everything so much in advance. But once you've worked through certain emotional discomfort, you might find answers, and therefore it will become easier for you to move forward through life. And yeah, also another message is, but it is similar in a way, but you are encouraged to listen to your gut and to your inner guidance when it comes to making choices. Do not be too harsh, do not be too rigid when it comes to analyzing everything and rationalizing. That's the word, rationalizing absolutely each step of the way. Some of it won't make sense. It simply won't make sense, and that's what the Fool archetype is teaching us. Okay, the next position is going to tell us where do you need to take more risk and to embrace change. Okay, so maybe if some of you were thinking of changing your style and public image, so to speak, then by all means experiment, because we are not stable creatures, nothing's set in stone, we are always in becoming. And when I say stable creatures, what I mean by that is that actually emotionally and spiritually we are supposed to be stable in our connection to life and to the universe, but externally we are not supposed to take everything so seriously. So yeah, if you feel like the external expression of yourself is no more reflecting your inner world, then let yourself go. Change the color of your hair, or maybe you are ready to lose weight, or on the contrary to gain weight, whatever. Just make sure that it is not the center of your attention, because just make sure that it is not the center of your attention, because again, don't get overly obsessed with your physical appearances, because our contemporary culture is really pushing us towards this sort of paradigm. But at the same time, it is fun. It gives a lot of pleasure to experiment with how we look. Maybe you want to buy new dress, new trousers, whatever. So go for it. Yeah, it feels like You want to be a bit more daring and a bit more eccentric when it comes to your style. And I love that. If someone's been judging your sense of style, then you need to let go of that completely. You need to trust your taste. You need to trust that whatever makes you feel comfortable, that's the right choice. Okay, and the last card is going to tell us where are you advised to embody more of a trickster energy. Interesting. Okay. It feels like sometimes you might get lost in your personal thoughts and ideas. So you need to outsmart yourself almost. Again, it is very much connected to some perfectionistic energy over here. So you need to release excessive judgment and outsmart the toxic self that is really destroying you with unnecessary criticism, unnecessary judgment. With the eye here, I feel like you are scrutinizing everything with so much detail that there is almost no space for mistakes or for, I don't know, even if it's not a mistake, it's like there is always something missing, or it could be better, or what if someone judges me, or what if I am misunderstood, and so far and so forth. So yeah, the trickster energy has to be applied to your personal way of thinking. And of course, this energy, for example, if you're someone who's very attentive to details, then it is beautiful and it can be applied to many areas of your life. But in its extreme expression, it can become very picky and fastidious and annoying, simply to your personal detriment, you know. So yeah, try to implement more humor when it comes to the perception of yourself and others. And again, this way it will become easier to connect to others and to also present your ideas to the world, because you won't feel this surge of anxiety every time when you make a little mistake or when you feel misunderstood. And by the way, when you do feel misunderstood, again, sometimes it's really other people's fault. Of course, communication is a very subtle art, and we have to explain ourselves and make sure that we are communicating clearly too. But again, with someone who is not interested in actually proving that there's something wrong with you, they will always listen and they will always make an effort to really understand you. And if the other person is simply not interested in that, and their main purpose is to highlight how weird or how stupid you are, well, then there's nothing you can prove to those people, really. Okay, we'll stop it here. Hopefully it was insightful and interesting. If you want a personal tarot reading, I am currently available for one. To book a session, all the information is down below in the description box. Sending you lots of love and see you soon. Bye bye. Hi Baltu, welcome to your reading. Let's get started. The first position is going to tell us what is your current relationship with the full archetype overall. So I'm going to arrange it just a bit. So pile 2. So this is a vivid example of someone who is not trusting themselves too much. You have a lot of anxiety. Again, as of today, the energies are fluid. You might feel differently in a couple of days, or maybe tomorrow. Maybe today something's happening that is making you doubt yourself a lot. So no worries about that. Even though like we have enough of worry already. So don't be harsh on yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. Because all of us, we feel sometimes this way, even those who are, like on very good terms with the full archetype. But as of today, you feel like you are disconnected from your intuition, and of course it is because there is so much stress hanging over you. But the good news, you are the divine being, and you can always tap into your inner peace and inner beauty if you choose so. So make sure that you find a moment in your schedule and you just breathe and calm down and recenter your energy. Okay? I feel like maybe in general, at the moment, you feel like you are lacking a sense of direction, and that's maybe we will look into other positions, but I feel like maybe once you've implemented more of the Fool's archetype energy, it will be easier for you to see where do you need to go, to see what sort of decision you need to make. So I think you would benefit from working with the archetype of the Fool the most. You do really need this right now, because this energy is a bit blocked, okay? But let's elaborate on it. So the next position is going to tell us where do you need to have more playfulness, where do you need to be more spontaneous. Okay, so this is a big message. It's a major arcana. So overall, yes, like I said, once you've embraced the energy of the Fool, your life can change radically. So I think you are not seeing a lot of opportunities in your life because you're not embracing pleasure. You feel like if you are seduced by something fun, something beautiful, something pleasurable, again I'm hearing, then you will make a mistake. But on the contrary, if you do embrace this energy, like this way your life will gain more balance, and therefore you will start moving into the right direction. It feels like you are stuck in the illusion that if you follow your dreams, if you follow what really excites you, it might either be dangerous or futile or whatever it might be, you name it. Yeah. Okay, let's dive even deeper and let's see, where do you need to be more brave? Where do you need to take more risks and embrace change and embrace the unknown? Okay. For many of you, I feel like it is connected to your personal life, to your love life. It feels like you are attached to some painful moments in your romantic partnerships, and it is as if you do not understand how are you going to find someone else, even if you choose to, because it's always a battle with this person, but it feels like you are more ready to continue fighting with them rather than looking outside the box and trying to meet someone new, someone who is maybe more healthy for you. Now, again, it might not apply for everyone, and take only what resonates always. If everything is well in your relationships, then it might apply to how you interact with others in general, and maybe you feel the need that you have to be completely covered in armor to interact, you know. But you can be brave in actually showing your vulnerability, in actually showing your sensitivity, and you don't have to always expect that you will be attacked for it. Okay, so for some of you, it is really becoming brave in a sense that if you need to step out of a toxic dynamic with someone and, you know, have boundaries with this person, then you're encouraged to do so. And apply wise qualities of the Fool, where although you are naive and loving, you can still protect yourself. For others, I feel like there is this calling of showing bravery, of showing your vulnerability and showing your sensitivity to the world. That's the true bravery for you at this time. Now, this position is going to tell us where do you need to be more innovative and dare to be different. Okay. So this is connected to your social circle, and maybe you need to innovate the way you make friends. Maybe it's time to expand your social circle, and you are someone who only makes friends if you are introduced to someone directly, or, you know, when it's something very comfortable, and perhaps you are advised to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and, you know, get yourself out there, depending on your interests in life. Try to visit certain events, try to let yourself go, and, you know, be open to the most unexpected people, to the most unexpected ways of how you can make friendships. And again, it also applies to romantic partnerships. Maybe by doing so, you will meet someone for a romantic relationship, not just friendship. This card is going to tell us where do you need to apply more wisdom. Okay. For many of you, I'm hearing that your body is a temple. So with the Star card, it's almost as if you are called to realize the depth of your presence in this world. So if you are someone who values themselves based off of your achievements, then it's time to let go of all those superficial layers. And, you know, because the Star card comes right after the Tower card. This is when your ego has been destroyed, and now you step into the path of enlightenment and into the path of connection to the higher power. So I feel like I need to remind you that you are just like everyone else, but you are as well. You are a divine being, and even though we are living in a highly materialistic culture, I feel like this pile, you are advised to connect with this deepest knowing that you are valuable, that you do belong to this world, even if you haven't achieved some extraordinary, socially appreciated things, you know. And yeah, at this time you are advised to pay attention to your body, to your health, and make sure that all of your energy centers are balanced. And again, if you are experiencing a lot of anxiety at this time, then this may be due to the fact that you are lacking is self-appreciation. And yeah, of course, I mean, we are only speaking within the context of the full archetype today. It's not a personal reading. I do not know what's happening with you in other areas of your life, but yeah, there is this energy coming through where you are someone who might not value themselves too much, but you really should, because you are stunning, you are a beautiful person. And even if you are not even, you are not perfect. We are, all of us, we are not perfect, and it's totally fine. It's just, don't be too harsh on yourself, okay? And prioritize your inner peace today. I feel like in your life you might have been mistreated by others, and this is because you think like, okay, but yeah, who am I? I am nothing special. And it is such a toxic thought to have. No one deserves to be treated badly. It doesn't matter if you are a celebrity or just a ordinary person. We all deserve an equal amount of love and care. You know, it's just a choice whether you want to become a celebrity or not. Not everyone has to be one, okay? If you want to be one and you are one, perfect, absolutely fine, amazing. But at the same time, it does not mean that if you do not choose this path and you want to have a more ordinary life, which can be just as exciting, really, it does not mean that you have less rights to be respected, loved, and all other things that come with a healthy attitude. Okay, so and the last card is going to tell us where do you need to practice more of a trickster energy. So I think at this time you are called to strategize. What do you need to leave behind? And you have to take it seriously. You have to be really rational about it. There might be some things that you need to sacrifice for the sake of your well-being, okay? And I think that half of them might be very much in the face and you may be aware of them, and then there might be some others that are hiding in the shadows and you really need to take some time to detect them, to get rid of them. So yeah, there is some energy that is not allowing you to move forward in your life, and you have to be very, very strategic and rational about it. You cannot be naive here. You have to be cunning in a sense to really spot out everything that is not serving you. And yeah, sometimes be harsh and sometimes be cold-blooded to protect yourself and to maintain your sense of peace. Okay, pal, too. Hopefully it was insightful and it resonated. I'm sending you lots of love and inspiration. If you want a personal reading, I am available for one. To book a session, all the details are down below in the description box. See you soon. Bye-bye. Hi Pile 3, welcome to your reading, and let's get started. The first position is going to show us your general connection to the archetype of the Fool as of today. Please remember that the energies are fluid and the way you are relating to this archetype today might be different tomorrow. Nothing's set in stone. Okay. So, as of today, I feel like you are someone who is actually a rather serious person. You do care about your reputation. You want to come across as someone established and, again, someone, yeah, rather serious. I would. It's not a bad thing, and we will dive deeper into other positions because maybe overall, you are connected enough to the Fool. But I would say that you might come across as someone who has a lot of self-control, which is a very good thing again, but someone who, yeah, you might come across as someone who is very mature. And as long as you do have enough fun in other areas of your life, there's nothing wrong with that. It's something that all of us are trying to achieve, really. And yeah, but since we are asking to what extent you are connected to the Fool, I still have a feeling that you might benefit from implementing a little bit more of the Fool's energy into your life. But let's see. Yeah, again, I feel like a lot of you do care about your physical appearances, and yeah, everything needs to be just so slick and neat. Okay. The next position is going to, it's going to tell us where do you need to exercise more spontaneity and more playfulness. So you would benefit from exercising more playfulness when it comes to your decisions overall, because you might be someone who finds it difficult to step into new beginnings and to move forward. So you are someone who will cling to your old comfort, and you won't risk your comfort zone easily, let's say. So understanding that life is much more interesting and artistic and beautiful when you go with the flow. So you are called to become slightly more fluid and, do not resist to not resist the flow of life, simply, yeah. And I think by doing so, you might discover a lot of unexpected places, a lot of unexpected, like both physical places and internal spiritual places within yourself. For some of you, I feel that you might even change the country where you live. But again, it's just for some of you. Some of you need to travel more. I mean, like even in your city, you might be someone who is you might be someone who constantly go to the same places. For example, even if you have your favorite restaurants, then you will always go to the same place. And again, it's your life, nothing wrong with that. But if we do open ourselves up to the myriad of opportunities in the world, then life might become just a little bit more interesting, I guess. But again, if you want it, maybe the way your life is today, you are totally happy with it, then whatever. I am just a messenger, and you decide what to do with this information. Okay, so this card is going to tell us where do you need to exercise more bravery and take more risks. And we have the Five of Wands. Again, I'm getting the message that it is as if you are resisting your personal growth, in a sense that there are some things that are waiting for you to be discovered. And because you are someone, maybe you've already achieved a very good level in life. And, when I say you need to grow more, it does not mean that you are stupid and you don't like to learn or whatever, but we learn constantly. We learn things the whole life until we die. That's what it is. And maybe at this moment, your internal world is ready for a new cycle. You know, your psyche is ready for a new cycle, and it feels like you are slightly resisting it because you are fine. I actually do have a feeling that you're doing very well. You might be someone quite established in terms of your career, and like everything's fine, but at the same time, your higher self is calling you to step out of your comfort zone and to explore new things. Otherwise, you will become like those wooden people and you will lose your flexibility, you know. Because what is youthfulness? It has nothing to do with age, it's rather with our internal ability to learn new things, to discover the world with new eyes all the time. And yeah, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort, really. So sometimes once we've established a nice foundation, we want to keep it, and it's natural. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But at the same time, there is this other energy of constant growth that really defines life, because the lack of movement is death, and action and growth, it's always life. So it's only natural that we're being pushed towards new discomfort. And I think that's what is happening right now. And it feels like you are resisting this discomfort a little bit. Okay? Okay. The next position is going to tell us where should you be more innovative and more of a visionary. Okay, that's huge. So, pile 3. Yeah, it feels like you are on the verge of a massive new chapter. I don't know if you're ready for it or not. I think somewhere at the back of your mind, you feel it coming. But yeah. Okay. So it feels like you need to reprogram your mind. And by doing so, you will open the doors to a completely new world. Now, some of you might not want to enter a new world. I don't know. Again, because everything's fine with your world. But if we do have this energy here, then it's a really nice question to ask yourself, are you honest with yourself 100%? If everything's fine, then I think you will easily ignore the message. But if something is actually nagging you from the inside, I think you will resonate with it a lot. So it feels like there is still some element that is missing in your life, and it's time to really address it. And really the answer lies within your mind. So, for example, if you haven't been able to manifest something and you just decided, like, my life is totally fine without it. And again, like, it's better than living in lack and constantly suffering from not having this thing. But I feel like now you are called to still face something that you've always been willing to have in your life, but maybe to change your approach to this thing and to look at it from a more spiritual perspective, from a more emotional perspective. Because the path to this desire is not logical, okay? Maybe it's time to reconnect with a dreamy side of you. Yeah, I feel like you need more dreams in your life. It's like maybe you've become a bit too practical and you stopped dreaming and fantasizing. Please start doing it again. I think you would benefit from it a lot. Yeah. If you used to visualize a lot of things before, then you just stopped, it's a very good idea to get back to this practice. Now let's have a look at the next position. The next position is the wise fool aspect, and where is beneficial to where is it beneficial to use more of your wisdom? Okay, so for some of you, I feel like if you are dealing with certain conventional structures in your life, I don't know, it will be different for all of you. Some of you might have certain misunderstandings with the institution of family, meaning that, I don't know, the family is telling you that you need to get married or whatever. Then others might have certain limitations in terms of religious structures. Maybe you are interested in someone who is belonging to a different religious egregor, and when I say egregor, I mean just like a different religious system, and you know, there is no easy answer to it again. So that's why you are advised to approach this situation with a lot of wisdom and to not look at this situation as very black and white. And I think with this card, it's a good sign. It is telling us that there is always the way once the situation is approached with wisdom and with the divine voice of love within, then all the contradictions can always be balanced out. You cannot control others, obviously, but still, by grounding yourself in this certitude that peace can be achieved, most of the time it is achieved. So keep focusing on the fact that there is always a solution, and even if it will take a bit of time to get to this solution, meanwhile you can exercise your flexibility. Maybe you are given this situation exactly so that you can develop those flexible qualities within you, and by overcoming it you will become a completely different person. Because someone who is very flexible by birth, they might not see it as a challenge at all, but I feel like here it might be a little bit challenging to you. For others, I'm hearing that, for example, if you are feeling called to ask for advice and to have a conversation with some very, in your eyes, wise person, then by all means do so. But again, try to find this balance between external wisdom and internal wisdom, because after all, you are the one who is responsible for all your choices. So even if there is some very wise figure, someone very respectable who is giving you an advice, take your time to weigh all the pros and cons and to reconcile your internal wisdom with the wisdom of this other person that might help you in certain questions. Okay? So, and the last card is, where do you need to exercise more of a trickster energy and become more strategic, more rational, and more cunning? And we have the 10 of Pentacles. Interesting. For some of you, I'm hearing that you feel like you are stuck in your either, again, for some of you, if you are single, it feels like you are stuck in actually being single, and it's like you feel it's almost impossible maybe like in this generation to find someone who would fit the criteria of your partner. Okay, then for others of you, I feel like you are stuck in a family dynamics where it has become, again, slightly boring, because there is a need to get to a different level, and there is always a way to get to a different level if we really love our partner. So when sometimes the relationship gets boring, it doesn't mean that there is anything. It doesn't mean that this has all of a sudden become a wrong person for us. Not at all. It's just we need to add. We need to make slight adjustments in our day-to-day life to bring this fluid energy back. For others of you, again, I'm hearing that there is something that you cannot resolve. Like there is an obstacle that is not allowing you to be with a certain person. And again, this is all in your head. I'm not saying that there are no external obstacles. Of course they do exist, but we can help dissolving them by first going within and resolving the internal conflict, because very often external challenges are reflecting our internal questions and our internal conflicts. So by letting go of certain limiting beliefs, this is where you would benefit from a trickster energy to outsmart your personal brain and to rearrange your thought process and to understand that you can reorganize your life to your liking always. So if you need to find a new balance with your current partner, then you can do so if you put your mind to it. If you've been single for quite some time, then again, there must be a reason for it. So maybe subconsciously you don't really want to be in a relationship, and then you have to explore why is it happening. Are there some fears related to love and partnership, or are you just not ready to let go of your freedom? All those things. So becoming that we are it's not that we are victims in this lives. It's just sometimes we are not controlling our lives to the extent that we are capable of controlling it. Okay. So pile 3, hopefully it resonated and it was interesting and insightful. I am currently available for personal readings if you need one. To book a session, all the information is down below in the description box. I am sending you lots of love and inspiration, and see you soon. Bye bye. Welcome to this meditation inspired by the archetype of the Fool, set along the serene shores of the boundless ocean. Before we begin, take a moment to create a space of stillness around you. Find a comfortable position, gently close your eyes, and bring your awareness to your breath. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling the air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly through your mouth, letting go of any tension. With each breath, allow yourself to relax more deeply and enter a state of calm receptivity. Once again, inhale deeply through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And one last time, inhale deeply through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Imagine yourself standing on a golden beach at the end of dawn. The horizon stretches infinitely before you, where the sky meets the shimmering expanse of the ocean. The air is fresh and carries the faint scent of salt, mingled with the whispers of adventure. You feel the cool sand beneath your feet, grounding you in the present moment. The gentle waves lap at your toes, inviting you to embark on a journey. As the first light of the sun touches the water, you notice a small boat waiting at the shore. It is humble yet beautifully crafted, adorned with symbols of stars and constellations, a vessel of intuition and possibility. You step into the boat, and as you do, you feel a sense of trust and courage bloom within you. This is your journey, a new beginning guided by your inner wisdom. The boat drifts effortlessly into the open ocean. The rhythm of the waves becomes the rhythm of your breath. Inhale deeply, feeling the vastness of the ocean around you. Exhale, releasing any doubts or fears. You are both the captain and the passenger, carried forward by unseen currents of destiny. You gaze into the depth of the water and see reflections of your potential, flashes of colors, shapes, and light. Each ripple holds a message. I am open to the unknown. I trust in the flow of life. I embrace every step of my journey with wonder. The ocean begins to change. It glimmers with a magical light, as if inviting you to dive deeper into its mysteries. You lean over the edge of the boat and reach into the water. As your hand touches it, you feel a surge of energy, a connection to all that is. You are the full, eternally curious, infinitely brave. This is your path of transformation, where every choice leads to growth. Ahead you see a small island rising from the water. Its sands sparkle like stardust, and atop it stands a single ancient tree. You guide your boat to the shore and step onto the island. The tree offers shade and wisdom, its branches whispering truths carried by the wind. You sit beneath it and close your eyes, absorbing the gifts of this moment. The journey has brought you here to pause, reflect, and prepare for what lies ahead. repeat these affirmations silently or aloud as you sit under the tree. I trust in the unfolding of my journey. I welcome the unexpected with an open heart. I am free to explore, create, and grow. The world is filled with opportunities waiting for me. I am ready to embrace new beginnings in love, career, and all areas of my life. I open myself to the endless possibilities that life offers. I trust the universe to guide me toward exciting new experiences. I celebrate my uniqueness and embrace my role as a catalyst for change. Like the fool, I move forward with playfulness and confidence. I honor the fluid and untamed nature of my spirit, flowing like the waves of the sea. I release the fear of looking foolish and embrace my childlike wonder. It is safe to make mistakes. They are steps on the path to growth. I accept and celebrate being different. My uniqueness is my strength. The universe delights in surprising me with its endless possibilities. I release the belief that the world is against me. I trust in its inherent support. I find joy in creating abundance. Making money can be fun and fulfilling. I embrace fun and play as essential parts of my journey. I trust that being strange and unconventional is a gift, not a flaw. When you're ready, you rise and return to your boat. The journey continues and the sea beckons you onward. But now, you carry with you the lessons of this moment, the wisdom of the fool, and the unshakable belief in your own potential. Take a deep breath in. Feel the air fill your lungs as if it were the very energy of the ocean. Exhale, letting yourself return to the present, bringing with you the clarity and courage of this journey. When you're ready, open your eyes. Welcome back and have fun. Welcome to the ritual of creating a magical drink inspired by the archetype of the Fool. Today we are creating a potion of transformation, a drink infused with the essence of new beginnings, the Fool's Lavender Lemonade. This is not just a recipe, it's a ritual. Every step we take, every ingredient we add, carries meaning. This drink will help us embody the energy of the Fool, bold, free-spirited, and open to endless possibilities. Everything we consume carries meaning within the collective consciousness. Fruits, herbs, and even the way we prepare our food influences our inner world. But remember, magic is personal. If an ingredient evokes a different feeling for you, trust your intuition. The key is intention. As we prepare this lemonade, I'll be explaining the symbolic and astrological significance of each ingredient on the go, so you can truly connect with their energy in the moment. We begin with lavender. As we pour hot water over it, we allow its essence to infuse, just as we let our dreams and ideas steep in our subconscious before they manifest in reality. Lavender, ruled by Mercury and connected to air energy, clears the mind, bringing a sense of calm and openness to new journeys. It helps us trust the unknown, making it the perfect herb for embracing new beginnings. So we wait, giving it time to release its magic. Next, we slice the lemon into thick, juicy rounds. Lemon, ruled by the moon and associated with water, symbolizes intuition, emotional clarity, and renewal. Now the basil, ruled by Mars and connected to fire and air, represents courage and luck. It adds a touch of protection and confidence, empowering us to take bold steps forward. This is the moment to set your intention. What bold steps are you ready to take? Whisper it into the basil as you add it to the mix. Then an intuitive step. I mix a little lemon juice with honey. Why? Well, because together they sort of balance sharpness with sweetness. Lemon's cleansing energy meets honey's soothing warmth, creating harmony between release and receptivity. Honey, ruled by Venus and connected to water, reminds us that even as we step into the unknown, we can embrace joy and trust the sweetness of life. Now we bring everything together. We add a little still water, a foundation for our potion. We place the lemon slices, pressing gently, releasing their gold essence. We stir with intention. Now this is very important. We are visualizing ourselves braver, freer, as doors of opportunity swing open before us. We add the basil, another layer of magic and empowerment. Then the honey, infusing the moment with sweetness and warmth. And finally, we pour in our cold lavender infusion, allowing its serene energy to complete our transformation potion. For an extra touch of excitement and playfulness, we top it off with sparkling water, because life is meant to be a little effervescent, full of unexpected delights. And there you have it, your Fool's Lavender Lemonade. Pour it into your favorite glass, take a sip, and let the magic unfold. Feel the energy of the Fool guiding you, bold, light-hearted, ready for adventure. The universe is waiting to surprise you. Cheers to new beginnings and infinite possibilities.